My name is Thomas Wilson. I'm the creative director of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. When we started working on the game, we asked ourselves what we can do that would be different in this game that the other games haven't had in the past. And 2099, Spider-Man in the future, how cool is that? Felt like a good starting point for one of the dimensions. And really, because it was taking place in the future, it was our chance to actually revisit how the future had been defined in the comic books and just make it our own. Also, it's because the character had unique abilities that the other Spider-Man didn't have, like what we call accelerated vision, which is sort of a way of being able to see objects moving at high speed. So we turned that into gameplay, allowing the player to slow down everything around him while maintaining his own speed for combat, which is quite of an advantage. And then, the web foils allowed Spider-Man to actually perform high diving actions, through base jumping, if you will, things that we hadn't seen in other Spider-Man games so far. Coming up with the concept of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, we had some ideas about some of the villains we wanted to put in the game. And so it allowed us, depending on each universe, to sort of come up with a unique character that did not exist, that could have existed in a comic book universe, or that could not have existed in a comic book universe specific to that theme. Like, for instance, in Noir, we have Hammerhead. And so Hammerhead was a villain that was exclusive to the Amazing Spider-Man world, but we came up to Marvel and said, look, we think this character would be awesome set up in the Noir universe because of this gangster-looking feel, and they agreed. So with the Hobgoblin, that character is not part of the comic book universe, but we basically drew our inspiration from some of the Hobgoblin designs that have been done in the other universes. And that character, all I can say is that he's a creation of another supervillain that we haven't announced yet. But that's a character that we were able to, bring into the 29 universe, although it didn't exist in the comic book series. One thing we need to talk about when it comes to boss encounters in the game is we need to talk about the story itself. We need to talk about the Tablet of Order and Chaos, which, the story revolves around that mystical artifact, and that artifact gets shattered at the beginning of the game, and pieces of it are scattered through the different dimensions. And it's up to each Spider-Man to retrieve these fragments because they hold great power. Unfortunately for each of the Spider-Man, they end up in the wrong hands, and so each level has a supervillain you need to fight, and this villain has a piece of the tablet. But what that piece of the tablet does is provide additional powers that we haven't seen before in a video game for each of the characters you'll come across. So we came up to Marvel with possibilities, like new powers we wanted to give to the supervillains, and they were great. They were very collaborative in talking about what we could provide to each of the supervillain. Now, if we talk specifically about Kraven, there will be in the level the footage reveals that there's a battle taking place in sort of a Thunderdome-looking environment. Well, that's when he's not, that's when he hasn't used the power of the tablet yet. But what we've seen now today is a moment where he's actually used the power of the tablet, and basically what he gets is additional speed, stamina, and things that allow him to move as quick as a lion. And so all of a sudden, Kraven will move at high speed, really fast, and you have to wait for the moment to strike, otherwise he'll pretty much just dodge everything that you throw at him. So what's great about it is he's got that lion personality coming through the use of the tablet, and that allows us to really create some dynamic boss fights where you need to wait for the moment, you need to watch for the moment when it's time to strike. So that's how that's just an example of what the tablet does to a character. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions is due in September on Xbox 360, PS3, Nintendo Wii, and DS.